93-92. They tried to give this one away, Jeff. They tried as hard as they could to give this one away at home. DJ Wagner hit a huge step back three. Jonas Adu hit a free throw with, I believe it was like 6 seconds left on the clock. Arkansas 93, Mississippi State 92, and the Razorbacks have won 8 of their last 13 games to put themselves at 19-12 overall, 8-10 in the SEC, 5 quad 1 wins, and not really a bad loss to their name, despite what happened at South Carolina the other night. Goodman, you got to say nice things about Cal tonight, don't you?
Of course. How can you not? I mean, he's flipped this team, and he's got him on the right side of the bubble right now. Having said that, they never should have been as bad as they were for the first 2/3 of the season. But yes,
you got it.
He's still done a hell of a job the last third of the season. Well, they were 0-5 in the SEC in mid-January, and you know when it all flipped. You know when it flipped, right? When they went back to Rupp. Yeah, when they went. No, well, you could say when they lost Boogie Flan. Mm-hmm. I'll say when they went back and won at Kentucky. I think that's when their season flipped. Yes, when Boogie Flan went down, it allowed Nelly Davis to actually show up because instead he was just standing in the corner. But he had the ball in his hands, and they've been better. They've been better without Boogie Flan. But I think again that win against Kentucky was something they needed mentally. And they've been great since. What have they been? They were, I think 8-5 since with some really good wins. And the crazy part, and this is where I'm going to give Cal a lot of credit, is the last 4 games they've been without probably their most important player in a way, in Adu Thiero. So DJ Wagner has stepped up. Jonas Adu has stepped up. Nelly Davis has been consistent over the last probably month or so. He's done a good job getting them back on track. And, now they've got the number 9 seed. So they open against South Carolina in the SEC tournament, the team that absolutely mollywopped them a week ago in Columbia. I would assume they will get complete revenge and probably beat the hell out of South Carolina. It's the first game at noon on Wednesday. So that should be kind of fun to watch.
Who taught you the word mollywopped?
This is a recent thing, right?
I love the word. It's a great word. You have to admit
it's a recent development. That was a recent development, right?
It's true.
Whoever, we're gonna have to find whoever taught you that word. We're gonna have to have a conversation.
I brought it back.
You said it 15 times in
I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. It was there before you guys were alive. It was there. I'm bringing Mollywop back.
Bringing Mollywop back. If someone could put that over the beat of the Justin Timberlake "Bringing Sexy Back" song, that's what we need in my life. It's good. I'm bringing Mollywop back. Mike, the most impressive part of this to me, right, is he has a completely new team that doesn't really have any. How much emotional attachment can you have to a university and to a team and to a program that you've been at for 6-7 months, right? And they go through the start of the season, and it's fine. They're kind of underwhelming, but they're sitting there heading into SEC play at 11-2, and then they reel off 5 straight losses at the start of SEC play. And the loss at home to Oklahoma that dropped them to 1-6 before going to Rupp, that could have completely spiraled out of control and turned this thing into a complete dumpster fire. And Cal did not let that happen because those kids decided to start playing for him in that game at Kentucky when he came back. And I think that says a lot about how those players feel about him. I don't know if he's the best X's and O's. In fact, I know he is not the best X's and O's coach in the world, but the thing that has always made him great is getting players to buy in. And I think those kids are still bought into this team and to this program. And you have to give him credit for that.
100%. And I was on my first Field 68 show that I was on. Lipscomb played Arkansas. We talked about it. And I said, after game 1, I said, there's a lot of guys on this team that can be the guy, but if you have 4 guys that think they're the guy, it doesn't work. And so the role identification was going to be everything for this team. And so it's been impressive seeing them navigate this. It really has. And I think you only have so much time to figure that out. And especially if you're a team that's talented, and especially if you're a Coach Cal coached team, you're not going to get a ton of grace. You're not going to get a ton of leeway. and people are going to pile on quicker than they probably should when you're trying to build this thing. That's just the nature of it. Fair or unfair, right? So, but for a team to lose really their top 2 scorers, I mean, at Fland and Thero, or I know Thero has a chance to come back here, but has been out 3 or 4 games now, and during a pivotal stretch, like to lose those 2 guys at different points in the season, to have any type of turbulence in this conference, in the SEC conference, like you would think that like going through internal turbulence and injuries and that type of stuff in the SEC would be a death sentence. But it hasn't been for Arkansas for what you just mentioned, Rob, because the one thing about Cal is that he has gotten guys to buy in. He always has. And so you can talk about Wagner and Davis stepping up, Adu, all those guys. But how about Knox and Richmond? The mileage he's gotten out of those guys, young guys Richmond made the play of the game tonight at the end of the game, the defensive stop to end it. And so it's not only just those guys that, maybe were with him at Kentucky that came over. It's guys that are new to college basketball that have just continued to grow and develop throughout the season. So I think that, look, the way it's set up right now, it's South Carolina in round 1, but their path eventually would lead to Auburn, I believe, in the quarters. I would say
they got to beat Ole Miss in the second round,
which they absolutely can. They absolutely can. So you think about it, like you get these 2 wins and then you go cut it loose against Auburn, who all we talk about is, do you want to win the conference tournament? If you do, what does it mean for your title hopes, all that stuff? I mean, there's a real opportunity for Arkansas to make noise in March. There really is.